Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. This is going to be a video for the hometown crowd, and I will warn you now, it's not going to be a good one, okay? So anytime we're going to be talking about an infuriating topic, what are we talking about today? The 2025 legislative session. So if you need to hit pause right now, need to go pour yourself 3 fingers of bourbon, need to go do some breathing exercises, or just need to grab a barf bag, I completely understand. We will wait. But for the rest of you, yes, it is that time of the year. We're getting dangerously close to the beginning of the 2025 legislative session, and it appears, well, those that want to disarm us more already have their agenda in place. So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about how Washington State wants to disarm you in 2025. Okay, hey, listen, before we get going too far down the road we're going down, I'm proud to announce that this video is being brought to us by the Conservative Ladies of Washington, and specifically their Legislative Action Center. We're going to link it all up down below, but if you guys really want to stay on top of all the insanity that's coming out of Olympia this coming legislative session, if you actually want to find out what you can do about it, give you action items and items that you can actually follow through on to try to make a difference, then all of you, male or female, you need to sign up for the Conservative Ladies of Washington's Legislative Action Center. We're going to go ahead and link it up down below. Check it out. Thanks to all the patriots over there at the Conservative Ladies of Washington. Now, funny that the Conservative Ladies of Washington is sponsoring this video, because just last week, I had the pleasure of sitting down with the Julie Barrett of the Conservative Ladies of Washington for a live podcast where we kind of looked into the tea leaves, paid a little bit of Nostradamus, and figured out what might be coming down the road. And shockingly, we were dead right. And you go, oh, wow, what are you guys, psychic, or did you cheat and get the answers to the exam? No. The truth is, it's not really rocket science, because you only have 3 places you need to look, okay? The first place you look is what's failed in the past, because you know it's coming back, okay? The assault weapon ban took them 7 runs at it. The magazine ban, it took them 5 runs at it. So they're going to keep coming back for all the stuff that didn't happen. The second place you look is the state that's always on the gold medal platform of crazy gun laws, and of course that is California. Washington does nothing more than aspire to be just like California. And then the third place is you could take a look at groups like the Alliance for Gun Responsibility, Everytown, any of the other Bloomberg groups, because essentially what they do, as we now know through the hard work of Michael Leaston, is, well, they basically write our gun laws and just get them passed through Liz Berry. And in fact, Representative Liz Berry, is notorious for trading drafts of the bills with people from outside the state, from other anti-Second Amendment organizations that will then help her draft the legislation, which she then shoves through the legislative process. So, with all of that in mind, what kind of horror stories are headed our way this year? Number 1, a permit to purchase firearms. Yes, this is one that many, many gun-grabbing states are really big on. Illinois always leading the charge with the FOID card. The state of Oregon is trying to do this as well. You may recall that both House Bill 1143 and 1144 last year started off as a pre-purchasing licensing. It did get watered down significantly to a pre-purchasing educational requirement. But I can assure you there's going to be efforts to ramp this back up, turn it into a full-fledged licensing regime, and then probably make it cost prohibitive. More FFL accountability. Yeah, as you may recall, there was already one bill passed last year that's now going to require a lot of FFLs statewide to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in retrofitting their building, all to meet compliance with the new statutes as it relates to the physical makeups and security of FFLs. Obviously, that was probably not enough, so what you're going to see is probably additional requirements added there, because they probably didn't run enough FFLs out of business. And then there's likely going to be additional insurance requirements that may come both on the FFLs as well as the individuals. That's what happens when you elect this person to head up the Office of Insurance Commissioner. And you may even see additional record-keeping requirements that will be state-specific, something you're also seeing in other states. Now, the third thing that the Alliance for Gun Responsibility says is on their 2025 agenda: support and fund community safety. Now, they start off talking about how they really just need a lot of more local gun violence prevention programs, but ultimately, what this really means is repealing state preemption. And I will say for the 100th time, because every time I talk about state preemption, I get all worked up about it, because I'm going to tell you it's about one of the worst things that could ever happen to your gun laws here in Washington State. But nobody seems to really give two you-know-whats about it, okay? But if you want to know how bad it is, okay, if you think what Washington State does to your firearm rights right now, just think what happens when the city of Seattle or King County or Pierce County or city of Tacoma or any place like that has carte blanche to do whatever they want. Restrict firearms in sensitive places. A huge push that we're seeing again through all sorts of states now that are hell-bent on civilian disarmament. More specifically, New York's Concealed Carry Improvement Act, as well as California's Senate Bill 2, both of which have been subject to considerable constitutional and actual successful challenges at this point. Last year, we added aquariums, zoos, and public transportation. Consider a whole new slew of things. And you also remember last year when they added those new sensitive places, or what we call gun-free zones, they did exempt concealed carriers. Watch carefully for that exemption to be pulled from the statute now. Require the safe storage of firearms. Well, we already have a safe storage provision, don't we? Yeah, 941-360. But if you look very carefully, it basically says at the bottom of the statute that nothing in this section actually requires how you have to store a firearm. Instead, it basically says that, hey, listen, if you store it like an idiot and unauthorized people access it and then bad things happen, you're on the hook for it, okay? But watch Washington State now make a push, much like we've seen in California or within certain cities of California, that will require that firearms be locked away at all times with perhaps the ammunition in a separate location unless the firearm is actually on your person. Restrict bulk firearm and ammunition purchases. This is a big one, Washington, and you need to pay really, really careful attention, and you might want to think about stocking up, because I do believe that there is going to be a significant push to require a background check for ammunition. Once a background check for ammunition is required, you can no longer purchase from online, which means you can no longer purchase ammunition at online prices, which we know is significantly less than what the retailer is capable of selling it to you. For that reason, if there is something that you're thinking about stocking up on now, it might be the types of common ammunition that you are most likely going to use, okay? So I would seriously start scouring a lot of the online retailers right now, finding good deals while you can, and having whatever quantity of ammunition you feel comfortable storing sent to you, like right now. Then, of course, there was that failed attempt to restrict us to only one firearm purchase for every 30 days. That law was recently passed in California and actually struck down, but that's not going to stop the Washington State Legislature from giving it a run this time. So we could see also an attempt to restrict how many firearms we could purchase within a 30-day period, even though there's no constitutional basis for that whatsoever. Establish a tax on firearm sales and ammunition. Listen, the one thing I could absolutely, positively, and without a doubt assure you is coming out of Olympia this year is a whole slew of new taxes. Yes, many of these gun violence prevention programs are going to need to be funded. So yes, you will see significant increase in firearms tax. You will probably see a significant increase in ammunition tax. Now think about this. You pass a law that requires background checks for all ammunition, which means you no longer can purchase ammunition online, which means you then have to buy all ammunition and pay for a background check, plus be subjected to all the additional taxation that the state of Washington wants to put on it. That's one of the things that you have coming down the road from Olympia this year. Now, listen, there's probably going to be a few other ideas. I would be very, very careful with this person now as Office of Insurance Commissioner about proposed mandatory liability insurance for firearms owners and other types of requirements as to where the policies need to be kept and things like that. If you want to know more about that, check out what the city of San Jose has done to its citizens recently. Well, it's good to know that even though we have about a $12 to $14 billion deficit, one of the high priority items that we're going to do right away once we get things rolling in Olympia this year is figure out more creative ways to disarm the lawful and responsible gun-owning Washington resident. Washington, you know the drill. This is one of what's going to be hundreds of videos. We will always, always, always keep you posted about everything that's going on in Olympia. We will continue to give it to you straight so that you guys can make up your own mind. In the meantime, if you got any questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. But if you don't, that's okay. That information's right down there in the description box. If you got an idea for a video we should be doing around here, cool. You click on that link right there. You tell us all about it. If you just want to subscribe to our monthly newsletter, the ability to do all of that is right down there in the description box. And then finally, and most importantly, let's remember that part of being a lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.